Welcome to the Albert College Roundtable session. We would like to take this opportunity to welcome those of you that are joining us right now, and also to let you know this will be recorded, so it will be shared out through our kids organization at a later date. So if you've missed something or you want to revisit it, certainly the recording will become available. My name is Tracy Kolb, and I'm the Senior Enrollment Management Associate at Albert College. My colleague Karan Nidger is here with us. He's going to be manning the chat. So I do ask, if you have any questions, please pop them in the chat function. And at the end, we'll visit all those questions that you do have. We do ask also that you let us know which panelist you're asking the question to. If you're unsure, we will assign a panelist and certainly get the answer for you. So again, just pop your questions in the chat as you have them. We do have three panelists for joining us in the Albert College community. First of all, Lori Foster. She's a current parent and a board member. I'm going to let her go into more detail when we start our question and answer period, but thank you, Lori, for joining. And we do have two alumni, Hillary Wanamaker and Curtis Schmidt are also joining us. Just graduated last year from Albert College, but also I'll let them describe a little bit about themselves and their experience at Albert College when we get into that session of the question and answer. So I think we'll just jump right in and make the most of everybody's time. Our plan is we're going to spend about 45 minutes doing some question and answer with our panelists. And then at the end, the last 10 minutes, we'll spend time answering any of the questions that come through chat and as well any that may have been emailed to us prior to starting the event. So Lori, I'm going to say welcome to you again, and I'm going to just give you a couple of minutes to introduce yourself, and then we'll jump into the questions, okay?
Wonderful. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you and Karan, thank you for having us today. We're very excited to be here. So my name is Lori Foster, and our Albert College journey began when our son, we enrolled him in grade 2. He is currently in grade 12. And I'm also a member of the Albert College Board of Governors. Actually, this is my 9th and final year on the board, and I've chaired several different committees on the board, and just really have loved every minute of our experience at Albert College.
Thanks so much, Lori, for the kind words. I guess the first question we're going to start with is, why did you originally choose Albert College for your son?
At the time, what we were looking for is a school that was a smaller school. We wanted to have an opportunity for him to be in a smaller class size with individual attention and most importantly, an exceptional educational experience. We also wanted him to be in an environment where he was going to be challenged on a daily basis as well. And as soon as we drove onto the Albert campus, it was just such a warm and inviting experience. And I have to say that, you know, the Albert College actually has a feeling. It's just that warm family environment. The excitement, the level of enthusiasm with the staff and faculty is very genuine. And we just felt that we had to be a part of this Albert family.
Thank you. I will mention you were in the days when we could just go visit where we'd like to visit. Right now, the Albert College campus is closed to visitors. Of course, we are operating as a school, as a boarding school, so we do have students on campus living in our dorms and in classrooms. So if anybody that is looking to see the Albert College experience, we certainly do have a campus tour that's fairly comprehensive on our website. So that's a great way to start exploring. So the next question is, in which ways is this school what you expected, and which ways is it not?
Well, first and foremost, the most obvious expectation is the advanced academic program. That is key. There's also at Albert a wide array of extracurricular activities, and you can basically, you know, be and do anything that you want. There's so many options available, which is fantastic. And along with that, you know, the faculty is incredibly supportive, and they go above and beyond to support the success of all students, which is just fabulous. We also expected our son to be motivated and challenged and encouraged to be the best that he can be, and that has certainly proved well. What we didn't expect, and I know this isn't really happening a lot right now, but the arts program was just phenomenal at Albert. The music programs, the theatrical productions, it's just well beyond our expectations. And you know, another thing we also love about the school is the fact that they also create opportunities for students and families, you know, parents, to make connections. And I think that's really important because it also helps strengthen the feeling of community and that level of support that Albert College is known for.
Great. What do you think the biggest impact that school has made on your son?
Well, this was a really good question, and it took me a while to think of this because there are so many different ways that Albert has impacted our son. But most importantly, Albert has they've motivated our son to achieve at a high level, and just in every aspect of the Albert A's. And as people, you know, if our listeners have been on the Albert College website, you know, we have the 5 A's, which is academics, arts, athletics, adventure, active citizenship. And, you know, Albert College just really engages our students to be a part of this. And, you know, they've created opportunities that we have never even imagined prior to enrolling in Albert through the 5 A's. Another thing too is Albert College has also increased the confidence of our son. And I think that I can speak to many families and many students that having these opportunities through the 5 A's really elevates that whole level of confidence. You know, having kids perform in theatrical plays and musical performance, and even through sports, it's wonderful. One other thing that has been a key player basically in our experience at Albert is having the advisor program. And I think the students, I'm sure Hillary and Curtis would agree as well, that you know, having an advisor starting in the middle school from grades 7 through 12, you know, the advisor program, it makes the students accountable. They have someone that they can go to every week. They have someone that they can ask for help. And it provides a consistent monitoring of progress, which is wonderful, and which in turn the advisors also communicate on a regular basis with the parents. So that in itself is a true gift that Albert has given all of us. One other takeaway too is also the learning skills. Albert College has an evaluation process, which is basically this is looked at on several times throughout the year, and it's an evaluation on responsibility, organization, independent work, collaboration, initiative, self-regulation, and the learning skills. It's helped our son to realize the importance of, you know, becoming an independent learner, which is important, and how to balance workloads and time management skills. Also, it gives the understanding of the importance of taking breaks also to maximize your production and your productivity, which is important. So through all of that, it also creates balance, and which is essential moving forward into any career choice that they make. And you know, I have to say that Albert has the gift of being able to tap into the potential of every student, and you know, through these learning skills and through these advisor meetings and the 5 A's, it's a wonderful, wonderful package, so to speak, that you offer.
Thank you, Lori. The next question is, what does your child have to say about the school? So if you had to ask him.
Yes, and I had a little interview process with him, and it was quite interesting, and it's really nice to hear their thoughts on Albert, especially now, you know, throughout the years from grade 2 to grade 12, there have been all sorts of different experiences. So what our son really enjoys is that they have high emphasis on achievement, but Albert College also provides the structure to help you reach your goals and your potential. So that's really important. And he also said that Albert meets you at your current level and sweeps you into a realm that you never thought was possible. And the other thing too is for families listening to that, there's something for everyone at Albert College. You have the opportunity to focus your time and attention and invest into your Albert A's in many different ways, and especially the Albert A's that speak to you, such as sports, active citizenship, the arts, adventure, that sort of thing. So you can really create your own, you know, your own goals and vision of where you want to be within the school. And it also gives you the opportunity to meet people from around the world and gives you a taste of different cultures, which is really wonderful. You know, his final couple of comments were, you know, if you push yourself and put the time and effort in the way Albert sets you up with high expectations, you can be the best person that you can possibly be. You know, you have that support and that guidance, which makes such a difference in your school years, and you know, the quality of your education. And another thing that our son really enjoys is the fact that it's a small community, so you'll get to know everyone. And even though it's a small community, it can also be a competitive community. And but this helps the students with their drive, and it helps you to excel.
Great. I read this question, and I know we're going to ask the alumni this same question. So I had a difficult time thinking of the answer to this question myself. So here's the question. If the school were to be represented as a single person, what would its personality be like in only 3 words?
That is a tough one. And there are so many words that we can use and that we can choose to represent our school. But the 3 that I came up with were committed, and I'll explain what I mean with each word as well. So committed, supportive, and innovative. So when I speak of committed, I am talking about the commitment to excellence, the high standards that Albert College has, the commitment to the students, the dedication of everyone from faculty to staff to parents, and that school vision. There's such a commitment and such a dedication there that you don't see that every day, everywhere. And it's very special, I think. And my second word was supportive. And so with a supportive environment, everyone thrives and excels, right? And you know, they're willing, when you're in a supportive environment, you're willing to take risks and willing to think outside the box, which in turn makes you a successful person, right? And my third point was innovative. So I love the fact that Albert has an ongoing approach to prepare students to provide the necessary tools and technology to achieve success, and also allow forward thinking with our students.
Good. I surprisingly had a couple of those same ideas in my answer as well. How would you
Wonderful.
The values of the school and the values of the families in our community?
Okay, well, with Albert College, we have our set core values, which is individuality, compassion, integrity, and inclusiveness. And, the Albert College mission is to inspire excellence in the 5 A's, which is, as we talked about earlier, the academics, arts, athletics, active citizenship, and adventure. And I think that the Albert values include everything from our thoughts, our words, our actions, which influence our lives. And our children, I think our children and our families have embraced these values, which makes Albert a very positive and a very special place. And this is how we want our children to progress in life, with using all of these values of individuality, compassion, integrity, inclusiveness.
Perfect. I do thank you, Lori, for all your words of wisdom and praise to the school. And I do know that those are from your heart. Those are your true feelings and beliefs. And being a parent with us for so long, you've really seen everything that we have to offer. So Lori is going to stay on with us. So if you do have any questions about anything we've touched on in our conversation, please do pop them in the chat and we will circle back on them at the end of the session. We are going to move along to our 2 alumni that are with us. And I'm going to start first by letting Hillary introduce herself briefly, and then we'll pop over to Curtis's introduction.
Hi, I'm Hillary Wanamaker. I attended Albert College for 2 years, so I started in grade 11 and I graduated this past year. I'm currently studying at the University of Waterloo, and I'm here to talk about all of the things that I love about Albert College.
Thanks, Hillary. Curtis?
Hi, my name is Curtis Schmidt. I had attended Albert basically my entire life, from junior kindergarten all the way through till grade 12. Currently, I'm studying computing at Queen's University. And I'm also here to talk about everything I love about Albert College too.
Thank you, guys. I'm gonna pose the first question to both of you, but we're gonna start with Hillary. And so the question is, what do you appreciate most about Albert College during your time there? And how has your perspective changed now that you've got some distance from the school?
Okay, so something that I really appreciated the most when I was attending Albert College was how caring and considerate all the teachers were. So for my first 2 years of high school, I attended a public school where I live, and just making the switch from Albert College really opened my eyes to the compassion and devotion that all the teachers at Albert have. We had advisor periods, and that's mainly when I saw it the most. In classes, obviously too, but during advisor periods, you always saw how useful the teachers were and how much they wanted to help, and asking questions was very like a thing they wanted you to do, which is very different from public school. So that's why I loved Albert College, and the teachers that really made you feel like they wanted you to do well. And now that I'm not attending Albert, something that I find myself missing a lot is the close connections to my teachers, because especially with online and university, you kind of feel like you're doing it on your own, which is something at Albert I never felt, because you always knew that the teachers were there to help you.
So Curtis, before we get into that question with you, I did want to just ask Hillary if she could remind us how did you attend Albert College? Were you a day student, a boarding student?
Okay, so I actually live an hour away from Albert College. So I live in a city an hour away. So I was a 5-day boarder. So I did the flexible boarding at Albert College. So I lived there 5 days throughout 5 days throughout the week. I lived in the residence, and then on the weekends I would go home.
Perfect, thank you. Now, Curtis, do you want me to read the question again to refresh you?
No, I think I can do this.
Perfect, you go ahead.
So something I really appreciated about Albert College, and I still do appreciate about it, is the sense of community that they have at that school. Primarily due to the low class sizes and the lower population, it's really easy to meet everybody. And even if you aren't friends with everybody, you can associate a name with a face, or just associate a face in general. And as Hillary touched on earlier, this also really applies to the teachers, as they get to know each of their students on a more personal level including how they learn and what exactly they can do to help us learn the material better. And that was something that really helped me throughout my time at Albert College, because if I was ever stumped on anything, whatever teacher was teaching me that particular subject could actually help me understand it better through personal means rather than just reading off a script or giving a particular spiel that they give to everybody. And my perspective changed after leaving Albert College. Basically, class sizes get a lot bigger. And it's very difficult to approach teachers or just speak out when you have a whole bunch of other people watching or listening. And it can make you nervous at times, but I think Albert did a very good job of helping me build up my confidence enough to know that asking questions is the best way to actually learn a subject. So I'm not afraid as much to speak out and say when I don't understand anything, but I really do miss those smaller class sizes and being able to have personalized kind of sessions with the teacher.
Great, thank you. And Curtis, can you just remind us, were you a boarding student, a day student? What was your status at Albert?
So I lived about 7 minutes away from Albert College, so I was a day student. Drove there with my sister every day.
Great. So Hillary, the next question is, what, to the best of your knowledge, most differentiates Albert College from other schools?
So something that I would say most differentiates Albert is the close community and friendliness that it has that other schools don't have. Because I have the knowledge of going to a different school, I really do know how to like compare it between different schools. So I think that like the way that the community is and how friendly everyone is really makes it different, because I find myself missing how close I was with everyone. I find myself wishing I could go back and say hi. Obviously I can't now, but like I wish I could. I drive by and I just miss all the people, not even just my friends, but I miss the staff. I just miss the conversations that I'd have with them, because everyone was just so friendly and you never felt like you were alone at that school. You always felt welcome. And that's something that when you switch schools, you kind of realize, like, especially going to university, which is really big, you miss the close connections you can have with all of these people.
Thank you. And Curtis, same question to you.
One thing I thought made Albert really different, at least just for me, having gone to Albert my entire life, was the sheer amount of extracurriculars that we had available to us. Because I'd always hear about other people and how like they would play soccer or they play basketball, and I was expecting that with sports when I got into the senior school. I was expecting to have different sports available, but then when I saw that there were like art and artistic activities available, I was really surprised, because I would call myself more of an artsy person. So to see that I could play in band and that I could play chess, I could sing in the choir, I could participate in musicals, and then there were culinary arts and so many other things that I wasn't sure if I would be interested in when I came into them. But the fact that Albert got me to try them in the first place, they're now some of my favorite things to do. So that's something I would say sets it apart, is the sheer amount of extracurriculars.
Perfect. So here comes the tricky question that Lori did answer for us, but we're going to get it from your perspectives as well. If Albert College were represented in a single person, what would its personality be like in only 3 words? Hillary?
So I said if the school were to be a person, I would describe it as caring, determined, and inclusive. So I think the Albert community is very caring. They care a lot about your well-being, your grades, how you're doing, and they also just overall make you feel very welcomed, which I think is a big part of the caring aspect. But I also think like determination is also a very big aspect in the way that Albert College makes you as a student. So you really need to be determined in order to achieve the goals that Albert wants you to get and that you want to get yourself. And then I also put inclusive because of the amount of different clubs, athletics that like Curtis was talking about, and even just the different like ethnicities and types of people that are represented at Albert College. Inclusivity would probably be like my top thing to describe Albert College.
Thank you. And then Curtis, same question to you.
So I decided to look at this from a more empathy standpoint, I guess. So the 3 words that I chose were encouraging, generous, and worldly. encouraging, I chose in the fact that teachers and the school itself, I always felt like they wanted me to succeed. It wasn't just myself pushing me, it was, I felt like I had a community of people backing me through my journey of learning and becoming a better person. Um, I chose the word generous because of one of our A's, which is active citizenship, because even though we have mandatory community service in order to graduate, time and time again, you have students and faculty and just people setting up organizations or partnering with other organizations in Belleville to get hundreds and hundreds of hours, thousands of hours, going way above and beyond to help other people in the community. And I think that is in huge part to the school because they provide us with so many opportunities to help everybody else around us through things like We Scare Hunger and We Day and all those other things. And I chose worldly because even though we have our own community at Albert College, we are still full of many different cultures from around the world. And Albert College really likes to celebrate those cultures. Coming into grade 7 when I joined the senior school, I didn't know that much about the world around me. I knew a little bit about Canada and that was it. But meeting people from around the world and hearing about their cultures and being able to celebrate their cultures with them is, in my opinion, one of the best ways to learn about their cultures and truly gain an appreciation for the greater world around you.
Great, thank you. So Hillary, we're gonna go back to you. What one thing would you change about Albert College for the better if you had to choose something?
So this question was really hard for me to answer. I left it to the very end because I could not think of anything. It took me so long, but I did figure out something. So something that I would change about Albert College for the better is probably the amount of advisor periods we were given. So we would get 2 advisor periods and a shortened advisor period on Thursday mornings. And I always felt that I always needed more help sometimes. And like on Wednesdays, that was the last big advisor period we would get. And sometimes I just really need help on like a Thursday or a Friday. So that was the only thing I'd say is just maybe extra time with advisors or an added advisor period.
So just to let the audience know, we do have in our regular timetable twice every teacher is in their classroom and our students can go to their advisor first and then any class to get any extra help throughout the day or throughout that period. The reason we have it is that in many schools, students are left on their own, maybe at lunch or after school, to try to make an appointment with a teacher and figure something out they're struggling with. We wanted it so that the students had that dedicated time and they weren't left trying to fit it in an already busy schedule. So we really do have some dedicated time there where the teachers are easily accessible and the students have nothing else in their schedule that they're supposed to be doing. So it's very easy to make those commitments to get the extra help when you're struggling a little bit. So Curtis, same question to you.
I guess I'm not as creative as Hillary because I also left this question until the end and I ended up not being able to think about anything just because I know that in particular cases everything has its flaws, but I think the school itself actively tries to better itself for the students and for everyone around it, and they've done a very good job. And I know that there's many student clubs that are also around to like make student life better or to have places for people to talk to each other. So I couldn't really think of anything I'd change in particular.
And that is a totally fine answer also. Sometimes there is no answer when you get stuck and you have to be mature to say, I'm not sure. And that's totally fine. So Hillary, we're gonna go back to you. What would families find most surprising about Albert College, do you think?
Okay, so I said that I think families would find most surprising is the fact that Albert College sports teams and athletics are so inclusive. So if you think about like different schools, sometimes you find like people have to try out for the teams and like people get cut and everything, but Albert, they don't do that. And that's something I really love. And I was honestly super like surprised by when I first went there. So everyone at Albert College has to do their mandatory sports. And it's not something that Albert like makes you do. It's something that they do to make it enjoyable for everyone so that they can learn new skills. And that's something that I really like the approach that they took on, because Albert's athletics aren't always competitive. but they are always fun. And that's what I always found no matter what, because I was more into basketball than any other sport. And I still had to pick 2 other sports, and I still found them super fun. I was able to get involved in any way that I could, even if they weren't necessarily competitive. And like, speaking from my perspective, I played on the basketball team with Ms. Goosey as my coach, and she played all of our team members whenever she could, no matter of their experience. If they'd never even touched a basketball in their life, she would still try and play them. And I think that was a really good experience for me, because even if I'm not playing and I'm just watching my teammates play, being able to like see their little things that they were able to do that they couldn't do last week was just so much fun to be able to just watch, even if you yourself weren't achieving much. And I think it's something super interesting and something people will be really surprised about Albert College.
Great. And now, Curtis, same question to you.
I had something very similar also as a response, in the sense that even though we have many different things that we are not forced, because forced sounds bad, but made to do, it helps broaden people's horizons, because it's not like they just say do soccer and soccer is your only choice. You have multiple choices of arts and athletics that you can choose from. And I know a lot of people who had never played chess before in their life, and they saw it and they're like, hey, chess seems cool. And now they're kicking my butt because they practice with Mr. Profit, and they're really smart now about the game. But also something, I asked my mom about this one, because I asked her what she was surprised about the school. And she told me public speaking, and how they got us to do public speaking starting very early, and how she wishes that she had done that, because public speaking is a very important skill. And it's something that, even though a lot of people are afraid of, getting more comfortable with it can very much help you later on down the road.
Great, both great answers. Kind of in the last question area, Hillary, what advice would you give students just entering Albert College?
Okay, so advice I would give to students just entering Albert College is to not get so caught up in your friend group when you arrive. That was something that was really in my head when I first got to Albert, because I was coming to a school that I didn't know anyone. I didn't even live in the city that I was located in. So I was really caught up in the fact that, what if I get no friends? What if no one likes me? But that's something that I don't think anyone should ever worry about when going to Albert, because nobody there is going to say no to being your friend. As long as you're just a kind, caring, genuine person, nobody will be like, no, I don't want to be your friend. You'll always find somebody. And I think that really that's something that I really learned, especially when becoming a prefect, because it was my first year and I was like, I might not get this. But you really realize that when people, they don't judge you based on anything other than the way you treat other people. And I think that was honestly something that everyone should know when going to Albert College, that everyone there they're happy to be there, and they're happy that you're there with them.
Okay, and now Curtis, your words of wisdom.
So my advice to anybody that's new coming to Albert College would just be get involved in school spirit. Even though there's a lot of things that you are made to try out and do, there's so many more that are completely optional. And it might be daunting at first. You'll see a bunch of people who are very comfortable with the situation. It can be scary, but I promise you, they don't bite. Everybody is always extremely happy to find someone who's also interested in the same thing they're interested in. And they will welcome you with open arms into things like trying out the play, for example. A lot of people love it, even though a lot of people are afraid at first. I know everybody there is very, very welcoming. Just try out things. Don't be afraid. Everybody's very encouraging, and you'll have a lot more fun memories afterwards.
Thank you. Now, Curtis, there's a surprise question coming, and your statement led right into it naturally. So interesting. Hillary, what's your favorite memory of Albert College? And unfortunately, Curtis is going to have a minute to think about it while you answer.
Okay, I have a lot of amazing memories from Albert. So I'm going to say 2 because they're tied. So my first favorite memory is probably being with the prefect, being with our prefect team, and especially going to camp as a prefect team and just doing our prefect skit. That was really fun. That's something I don't think I'll ever forget. It's just so exciting, and you're just really involved. And then also being in the play. The play was super fun. It was something that I never thought I would do, but it's something I actually ended up really enjoying, and I really enjoyed the people I did it with. So that was really exciting.
So before we go on to Curtis, I'm just going to ask Hillary if you can explain that statement a little bit more, because our listeners on the call today probably don't know what you mean by camp.
Okay, so every single year at the beginning of the year when school starts, the whole school from grades 7 to 12 goes away to camp called Camp Tamaqua. And we spend about 3 days there, and you just get to meet everybody. You get to do some fun camp activities. You stay over, and it's just super fun. And then one of the nights we have skits. So every cabin puts on a skit. So it's like the grade 12 girls, grade 11 girls, grade 12 boys, grade 10 boys, they all put on their own skits. And then the prefect team puts on their own skit at the end. And it's usually based off like the rules of Albert College. And it's super exciting. Yeah.
Okay. Now to Curtis, your favorite memories.
So I guess I have the similar brain to Hillary because she stole my two. So I'll just go on to my third favorite, I guess, which was, so I played trumpet in our band at Albert College. And this year I got my first solo. And I think playing that solo on actual performance night and just having the whole, like, not messing up and playing it successfully after practicing for hours and hours with everybody, and then just standing up in front of everybody, playing it, and the audience clapping, honestly was one of the best times I've ever had at Albert College. I was really nervous when I first got assigned the solo because I was like, what? I can't play that. That's so hard. But, you know, everybody believed in me. My fellow trumpet section believed in me, and our conductor believed in me. And on performance night, I was able to play it, and it went off pretty smoothly. And I'll never forget that. That was honestly one of my favorite moments at Albert College.
Great. That's great. And sorry to surprise you guys with that last question. We wanted to keep something a little bit of a surprise. So we're gonna go over to Corinne, and we're gonna get the questions from the chat, and we'll go ahead and answer those if we have any, Corinne.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much to all of our wonderful panelists for all these wonderful, wonderful answers. It was a pleasure listening to all of you. I must say we have a shy audience here because we didn't get a lot of questions. We just have one question for now. So I'm just going to encourage all of our attendees that if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and we'd be more than happy to answer those. And the lucky one question goes to Hillary, actually. So Hillary, this is a family that I met at an event a couple of days ago, and I know that they are looking for a grade 11 spot for their girl from Toronto, and mom's name is Maria. So Maria is asking, Hillary, would you say you are a student who needed a lot of extra support? If so, did you get it at Albert College?
I wouldn't say I was a student that needed a lot of extra support. I have pretty good academics in terms of like figuring things out and doing well with my tests and everything. I'm not a very confident student, I would say. I would always second guess my work, and especially in some classes that I found more difficult, I would second guess. So I'd love to talk to my teachers, and I'd love to just make sure I was on the right track and doing my assignments the right way, which I think is really important, especially for someone who's not very confident in their work. So I would love to talk to my teachers, and so in that way they would support me. But I'm pretty sure if I did need a lot of extra support, they would still support me either way. The teachers there are amazing. So, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Next question I have is for Curtis. Curtis, as a day student, what is the dynamic like with boarding students? Very interesting.
I'd say the dynamic is pretty natural. I stayed a lot after school in between like certain practices or certain performances. And there were always boarding students there. They're always really nice to talk to. The only difference really was that they stayed at the school and I stayed at home. But I have a lot of friends who are boarding students, and it's really nice to talk to them because you get to learn about different things in their life and where they live and what's going on over there. But the dynamic was always pretty friendly. We always just love talking to each other.
Absolutely. It's like a small family who's well connected with each other, right?
Yes.
That's good. That's great. I'm just going to take a step back here, actually back to Hillary. When you say living as a 5-day boarding student, if you would like to talk more about the study hall program in the evenings, I think that'll be helpful to our participants.
Okay, so when you live at Victoria Manor, every single Sunday night to Thursday night, you have a 2-hour-long study hall. So you have study hall from 7 to 9, and depending on what your learning skill level, depending on how you would use your time during study hall, I would say. So if you were a high level, you could have your door shut, you could be in your room. Because level 4 basically means like you're on track with what you're doing. They know that you have a good study ethic and everything. So you just have to stay in the building and you can go work out if you feel like, as long as you are achieving the goals that you should be achieving. And yeah, it was 2 hours every single night for 5 nights. And it was useful. I liked it. You could get help from your friends if you needed it. That's the one part I loved about living in the manor, is the fact that if I needed help, I literally went down the hallway and I was like, hi, I need help. And people would help me.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, that's great. I think that's one of the things that many of our families are transitioning into a flexible boarding option with us, that just because the students have a chance to experience the best of both worlds in that way. And they also get those 2 hours of supervised teaching along with the regular class schedule. I have a question for Laurie now. It's from Zubi, and I talked with Zubi on a call that I was on a couple of days ago, and she's looking for her child in a junior school program, I remember. So Zubi says, since your child started in the junior school, how was the transition from public school to Albert College for your child and as a parent?
The transition was relatively seamless, and I guess the thing that we really enjoyed about the junior school was the fact that the level of communication was extremely high. We had daily communication with the teachers, the principal, messages were sent home. We had, it was just a really wonderful, engaging experience as a parent and for our son. And I think one of the main factors of that transition from the public system into Albert was also the safety factor. We always knew that every day when we dropped our son off at school, we knew that he was in a warm, loving, safe environment, and which was so comforting for us as parents, being able to drop him off and then leave and go about our day. It was phenomenal. And you know, I think for our son too, it was really nice because at the same token, that difference from the public system to Albert, it was just such an engaging curriculum, and the teachers were always involved, so involved, that it was such a wonderful experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a great answer, Laurie, and thank you for sharing your experience as a parent and talking about the transition to Albert College. I do have a question from Sarah, and Sarah, I can actually help answer this question. She's asking, is there transportation option for day students to Clarington area? Currently not, because it's outside of our current route zone. Having said that, Sarah, we do offer transportation for our day students on a daily basis. So we currently have routes towards Kingston, towards Napanee, towards Prince Edward County, and routes keep changing every single year depending upon the number of families we have on that specific route. If you are planning to move closer to Belleville, please feel free to share your location with us beforehand so that I can have our transportation team look into it and get back to you if we plan to have any more routes that way. Second question she has is, my son shall be going into grade 11. He has been given 98th percentile on top ranking. So what program will be available to prepare him for Ivy League, if any? That's a really, really good question. And I think the best person to answer this question will be our guidance office. So what I can do is, if you can just quickly type in your email address in the chat, I can have our guidance counselor, Ms. Jen Reed, get back to you directly and help you with that directly. I have a question from Julie Song. Does school offer guardianship to international students? Yes and no. We don't offer it directly, Julie, but we do work closely with a company called ISGC. It's International Student Guardianship Canada. It's a company based out of Toronto, and that offers guardianship service to most of the K schools, and has a very good relationship of working with Albert College in the past couple of years. when we have any international students applying from outside of Canada and they don't have a relative or a family friend who can be their guardian, we usually recommend them to contact ISGC, and ISGC is really helpful with their guardianship services. So if you want to touch base with me directly, I'm going to put my email address in the chat. Let's touch base on that after this call, and I can see if I can get you in touch with the ISGC person who works for Albert College. Okay. All right. Thank you, Sarah, for your email. I'll get back to you on your guardianship, on your guidance question. Let's see if we have any more questions popping up. Tracy and I had been getting lots of questions via emails as well before this call. So I'm just going to try and touch on a couple of questions. Meanwhile, if any of our participants have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and we'll bring those up. All right. So I'm going to try and share my screen here, everyone. And if Curtis and Hillary can just quickly nod if you can see my screen. That's good. That's perfect. All right. So the first question, that's a very frequently asked question that we get all the time, is what does the application process looks like? So it's really, really simple. What you need to do is, once you're ready to apply, and we are accepting applications for 2021 school year. So if you're ready and you feel like that you should put your application now, please go ahead and do it. You just need to go to albertcollege.ca, which is our website, and under apply, it'll give you access to our application form. So if you click on this tab, that'll open the application form for JK to grade 12. The application form for pre-K should be available on the website soon as well. But this is the page where you apply. There is a $100 application fee per applicant for anyone applying from JK to grade 12. Pre-K application is free of cost. Now, what do you need to provide along with your application form? So we would need to see your past 2 years of academic reports or your past 2 years of report cards. You would need to provide us a copy of your teacher's evaluation. A fillable PDF is available on this link. If you just click on this link, it should open a PDF which can be shared with the teacher, and the teacher can email it to us directly after they fill it up. Once we have that paperwork, for anyone applying from grade 7 to grade 12, we schedule an entrance test for them that I or Tracy can invigilate via Skype. For anyone applying for the junior school grade, so pre-K to grade 6, we don't have an entrance test, but we have a school visit, what we call a spend a day, which could be anywhere from 15 minutes to half a day visit that gives our teachers a chance to assess the abilities of the applicant and also talk with them, kind of learn about their nature, see where their interests are. And based on that, we offer admission for the junior school within 2 or 3 weeks. For the senior school, once the entrance test is done, we schedule a Skype interview with our Director of Enrollment Management, Heather Kidd. And after the interview is done, within 2 or 3 weeks, we offer the admissions decision. So it's fairly straightforward. Again, if you encounter any issues while filling the application form, or you don't understand any of the steps, or you don't have the required paperwork, you're confused, give us a quick email at info@albertcollege.ca, and one of our associates will get back to you within 24 hours. So that was my first question. I'm just going to try and go back to the chat and see if there are any more questions there. So I have a question. How helpful is Albert College in the college admission process for international students? I don't think I understand the question really well, but in terms of being helpful as we can be. We literally hold your hand from the very first step and help you until you arrive. And I think with us being a small school and us being a small team, Tracy, I, and our director, Heather Kidd, we work really closely with all of our families. And we have a 24-hour answer back policy. So if you have any, if we get any questions through the info email address, we try and get back to the families within 24 hours. Communication is one of our key aspects here at Albert College, right from when you apply till you become a student. We are always there to help you. So any questions, we are always there to support. I guess that answers your question. All right, so I don't see any more questions. I'm just going to touch on a couple of other questions that we've been getting. The second question that's a very frequently asked question is there financial aid available? And yes, there is. I'm going to try and share my screen here again. Absolutely. So again, on albertcollege.ca, if you go under menu, there's a tab. We actually have a page built up for financial assistance that covers information regarding scholarships and bursaries. Now, this is a lot of reading that you can do at your leisure. I'm just going to share the key points here. So Albert College offers scholarships and bursaries, and we are always able to help families with flexible payment plans should there be a need. Scholarships are primarily merit-based and bursaries are need-based. All these can be applied in the initial processes. Scholarships are very straightforward. So you just fill an application form, which is down here, and you submit it along with your application when you apply. Bursaries, however, are applied through a third party called Apple Financial Services, the details of which are down here under how to apply. If you click on this link, that will give you information about the Apple Financial Services, what the company is, and their website. Now, applications for bursaries can only be submitted once you are accepted. Scholarships can be applied when you apply, and bursaries can be applied once you're accepted. So that's the difference there. January 15 is the equal consideration date every year for scholarships and bursaries. So we advise any of our families who are looking to apply for financial assistance, try and get your application in before January the 15th for equal consideration. And our financial aids committee would be more than happy to help you with that. So that answers that question. Next question I have is, how can I visit Albert College? Well, if we are not under a pandemic situation, we love to have families on campus, and Tracy and I, we love to take them around, show them the residences, talk more about our facilities, have students come in for a spend a day. But currently our campus is closed for visits. However, we have created a virtual campus experience for you on our website that allows you to virtually explore our campus and facilities. So if you click on visit and scroll down to the bottom of the page, we have 3 different campus tours for our different facilities. So the first one for EPLC, which houses our pre-K and JK programs. Then we have one for the Parrot Junior School for K to grade 6. And finally, the one for middle and senior school. So you can just click on these links, watch the YouTube videos, watch campus tours. If you have any questions, you can contact us directly at our email addresses. My colleague Tracy, who's on this call, our director, Ms. Heather Kidd, and myself would be more than happy to answer any of your questions. Yeah, so that's the best we can do for these circumstances. Hopefully when things get better, we'd be more than happy to welcome you back on campus and take you on for campus tours. Let me just go back to the chat and see if I'm missing any questions there. I don't see any new questions. So participants, we still have a couple of minutes. If you have any questions, just feel free to put them in the chat and we'll be happy to assist you with that. If not, Tracy will be sharing my contact details at the very end, and we'd be more than happy to touch base in the coming days or in the coming weeks with any of your questions. The last question that I have that we thought as a team that we should bring up and discuss with all of our attendees here was, is there flexible boarding available? Absolutely there is. And I actually have a person on the panel right now who can talk more about that, who is Hillary. So I think there's a question. Just give me 1 second. All right. So if you go to student life under boarding culture, so being a small school actually allows us to offer flexible boarding options for any of our day families. And we have been noticing this transition more when students transition onto their higher years. So more into grade 11 and grade 12, where families actually want them to gain some independence before they jump into the wild world of universities and colleges. So that's a really good benefit of coming to Albert College, that once you feel like that you should gain some independence, you can try out our flexible boarding programs. So we offer 2, 3, and 5-day boarding options for students who would like to experience the best of both worlds, as we call it. Just indicate on your application that you're interested in flexible boarding, and one of our associates would be happy to work with you to accommodate that request. So there are a couple of videos here about the residence program that you can watch. Again, if you would like to learn more about specifically girls or boys residences, we have designed pages for both on our website. One really neat feature that I would like to highlight while we are all here is, now just because we are not able to meet as frequently as we possibly were able to in the past, we actually have a live chat option on our website. So if you see on this little icon here, I personally look after this live chat during our office hours. So if you ever think you have a question, just click on this live chat option, fill in your inquiry in there, and we try to get back to you in real time. So that's a really neat option that we all can use should you have any questions. So with that, I think I'm done with all of my questions and we have covered most of it. I still don't think we have any questions in the chat. So I think I should pass the floor back to Tracy.
Thank you, Karan. I just want to wrap up by saying it's been our pleasure to host the Roundtable event and share more information with you all about Albert College. We appreciate you spending this hour with us and hope you learn more about our small family school, where every student is an A student. I invite anybody in the audience that would like to book a one-on-one discovery meeting with Albert College and learn more about our life on campus. Please contact through this platform where you booked to come to the Zoom, or you can reach out to Karan, and I think he's shared the screen directly there with his contact details. And certainly we will be happy to have a one-on-one and collect any additional information that you might be interested in learning about. So I think with that being said, we're going to wrap it up. I do appreciate you all joining us, and especially our panelists for providing such great, useful information to everyone.